Okay, so basically I'm gonna start out with these 4 cups because these are my colors, and then on my canvas, underneath my canvas, I have these little plastic things because it's gonna drip a lot of paint, and also when it dries you don't want it to dry to the surface. So I have these things, it's easy to like take them off after it dries. A really important thing to note is wherever you start painting, your painting is going to have to sit here for at least 12 to 24 hours. It's going to be movable after 12 hours, but it's not necessarily going to be completely dry. So the most important thing to know is wherever you start painting, that is where your painting is going to sit for the next 12 or 24 hours. You can't move it because it's going to move the design of the paint because it's going to be so fluid. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my colors. So I'm going to start out with this teal. And just to give you a heads up, so if you're using paint that's in this kind of a tube, generally it's going to be thicker, so it's going to look like this. I'd say you need about a quarter size. And so, for example, with this kind of bottle, this paint is more fluid. With this kind of paint, it's going to completely cover the bottom of the cup. And so, I'll show you the difference here. And so as far as portion, it's really just covering the tiniest bit of the bottom of the cup. So if you have paint that's clumpy like this, you want a little bit of water. And I mean the tiniest bit of water. So I'm just gonna like splash a little bit. I mean, that's barely any, and less is more. So if you put too much water, it's hard to undo it. So I always just do little by little. So I just start out with a little bit of water and I try to stir it as good as possible. So even this looks like I may have had a little too much water, which is okay. So if that happens to you and you get too much water, and you saw I barely put anything in there, you can put a little more paint to kind of even it out. And I'm just putting the tiniest bit of paint. Okay, so the most important thing with this paint, like if you mixed a little bit of water with this, you just want to make sure to get all the clumps out. So I would say just like stir vigorously. And then after you have your color, you're gonna add Floetrol. So I like to actually mix all of my colors first and then add Floetrol. Okay, so once my colors are mixed, I'm gonna get out the Floetrol. So Floetrol can be found at Home Depot, or you can order it off of Amazon. So I'll show you, I'm gonna go ahead and mix it with the white paint first. So yeah, with the Floetrol, I like to add it to about here. So these cups are probably like 16 ounces, something like that. With your white and Floetrol mixture, you're just going to stir vigorously. Okay, and so same thing with yellow. You're gonna stir vigorously. And you'll see that the Floetrol takes the color of whatever color you're using. So it doesn't take much paint. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this cup here and I'm just gonna add all of my colors separately. So you do not wanna stir these. You just want to let them flow how they're gonna flow. So I'll take teal for my first color. And it doesn't matter what order you put your colors in. In fact, I like to do mine where I just do a little bit here and there. So next I'll do white, maybe I'll do some red, put some yellow. And see, I can go back and put some of that teal. Like there's no specific strategy here. I'm just pouring random colors. But an important thing to note is that whatever you do, you want your colors to reach maybe at least 2/3 of the cup full. You don't need to fill it all the way unless you're using a 16 by 20 canvas. Because we're using a 12 by 12 canvas, you just need it to be about 2/3 of the way full. So with this cup, after I put all the colors in it, I just let it sit for a little while. You don't have to, but I think it kind of helps. Like maybe just let it sit for like 3 minutes or something. But when you're ready, you can take your canvas and you want to put your canvas on top of your cup. So I'm going to put it on top of my cup, and then I'm going to take my hand and see, I can feel where my cup is. And then I'm going to, so after you feel like it's sturdy and you have your hand on top of it, you can flip it. So you're going to take your canvas and you're going to make sure that your corners kind of rest on whatever you're using to prop your canvas up. And then you're going to just pick it up. Awesome. And then after, you can like use a popsicle stick to scoop up some of the paint and put it on your corners. So I go around and I kind of check the sides, and I make sure all my sides are covered, and I make sure all of my corners are covered. So I'm just scooping up paint off of the table to use for this. You can also use your cup. So if you have a little bit extra in your cup, like you can pour it on your corners or whatever. So I'm just covering up this corner.